Hello and welcome to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. This is Colleen Beamish from Humor Bean Cards, and today I am making a sweet birthday card featuring the Lawn Fawn Spring Basket stamps and dies and the Spring Basket add-on birthday stamps and dies. This is a really cute set, perfect for Easter and for Mother's Day, as well as birthdays with the add-on. You have a little Easter basket that you can fill with eggs, chicks, some candy, flowers, and multiple sentiment options. And then with that birthday add-on, you can add some birthday sentiments such as have a happy day, happy birthday to you. And then I also have the Bitsy Blooms 6x6 paper pack, and that just has plenty of spring patterns that are really cute. And I'll be using 3 of those pattern papers on my card today. So I decided which images I wanted to use on my card, and I went ahead and used the dies to cut out each of the shapes. So I have the 2 Easter baskets from the main set, and then some of the additional imagery. I also have a die cut from a different Lawn Fawn set that I don't end up using on that card, and that's that center shape it's a rainbow. You'll see it completed later on. But so I have a sticky mat here in my mini MISTI, and I have all the die cuts stuck to that mat. So that just keeps each piece in place. And then I lined up the stamps with those die cuts, and I'm using my MISTI to stamp them down. I will stamp twice, and that's why it's really nice to have the MISTI with that sticky mat, because everything stays right where you need it to stay stamped twice. And for that, I'm just using some Gina Amalgam black ink, which is great for Copic coloring, which is what I will be doing on all of these images. Now, the coloring I'm doing today is really, really simple. Like, pretty much on most pieces, I'm just using one color. So I'm just going to do, this is sped up, and I'm just going to kind of run through it pretty quickly. So first, for the basket, I have E11 here, and I'm just doing a wash of that all over the bottom of the basket as well as the handle. And then I'm going to come in with one shade darker. It's E13, light suntan. And I'm just putting a shadow underneath that like ruffle and along the side. And this is really the only item that I'm doing actual shading on. So I'm coming back in with that E11 and I'm just blending that very slightly. Honestly, you probably don't even need to do this step. And then for the ruffle, I wanted that to be purple, so I have BV01, and again, just doing a flat wash of that. And I do come in with V04, and that was pinker than I expected it to be, so then I just went over it with that first purple. And now for the bunny, I have R20 blush, which I usually just use for blush on the cheeks, but in this instance, I put it on the nose and the ears. And then I have N0. This bunny is going to be white, so I just did some very, very light shading with the gray, just so that it doesn't look like no effort was put into the bunny at all. But the shading is like barely noticeable. So then I'm going to add blush to the cheeks, and rather than doing that same blush that I did on the nose and ears, I went in with RV10 for that. Now I'm moving on to the next image, which is the little flowers with the birthday sign. I have G40 for the leaves, and then YR20 for the centers of the flowers, and then I think that's R12 for the petals. And I actually will end up changing the color of the petals later on, which you'll see later. And I just wanted to darken them up, so I went over them twice with the Copic marker. And then the Happy B-Day sign, I'm going in with B00. And that's just a nice light blue color. And then the little stick on the sign is the E13. Now I have the bow, and for that I'm using RV52, which is a nice pretty pink color. I was trying to go pretty pastel with the entire color scheme. I didn't want it to be too dark, especially since these are such small images, and obviously it's a spring themed card. For the butterflies, I'm doing YR20, and again, I'm just using this one color on the butterflies. So that is all my images colored. Like I said, I have that rainbow there as well, which I won't end up using, but I'm ready to start assembling my card. So I take the little Happy B-Day sign, and I like that this has a little section at the bottom for you to add glue and adhere it to the basket. So I put glue right on the front bottom of that and stick my basket right over top. I'm using some Barley Arts liquid glue for this, and that gives me some time to wiggle the pieces around and make sure they're right where I want them to be, which was lovely because I needed to adjust for sure. So now that's all set, and I'm going to take my bow and adhere that on. With the bow, you have a couple options. You can either put it up on the handle of the basket or down on the front. And so I looked at both and was kind of going back and forth, but I ultimately end up putting it on the lower part of the basket just so I'm not covering up any of those flowers. So now I'm moving on to the background of my card. The dies on the left there are from the Give It a Whirl set from Lawn Fawn, and then I have a scallop circle as well, and I'm just picking out the pattern papers I want to use. So I pick out that floral green for the grass, and then I'll do the same floral pattern but on blue for the sky, and then my background will be that plaid yellow, and I'll incorporate the multicolor floral as well. So I have all my pieces die cut out, and I'm just going to adhere them to that circle card front with some liquid glue. So I have the grass piece here. With the circle die cut, I realized that I didn't even end up using the scalloped edge, so you can obviously just use a circle die, and I'll have that linked down in the description below. So I'm making sure that my background pattern paper is going the direction that I want it to. In the paper pack, the lines are kind of diagonal, so I wanted to make sure that I had my circle going diagonal as well. I think the tricky part with making a circle card and adhering to pieces to a circle is that you're trying to get it straight, but at any point you can kind of rotate it and it will like not be completely even. Hopefully that makes sense, but I'm just trying to make it like line up correctly. So I have my grass glued down as well as my sky, and I like that there's kind of a center part showing the background because I really like that yellow plaid. And now I'm popping up the Easter basket using some foam tape. So I just put little pieces of tape all over the back of that piece, and I will go ahead and stick it down to my card front. Next, I'll be gluing on the little butterflies, and for this, I'm not popping them up. I'm just using liquid glue, and I have some tweezers. Since these are so small, the tweezers just help me maneuver them onto the paper. So I am gluing those down, one so that it looks like it's kind of sitting on the basket handle, and then the other one as if it's kind of flying off of the card. So then I actually lost some footage here, but basically I just die cut out another circle that's a little bit bigger of that floral, the multicolor floral paper, and just glued that right behind the yellow, so there's just another layer of pattern paper. And then this is where I decided to change the color of the petals, so I have R43, and I'm just going over the petals again. I just wanted them to be a little bit closer to like a pinkish red to match the colors on the that background floral paper. So now I'm going to turn this circle card front into a circle card. So I have two circles cut out of heavyweight white cardstock, and they're the same size as my card front right now. I put glue on the front of this die cut, and then I realized I actually want the front of the die cut to be facing the opposite direction. So I want the back of the die cut to be on the back of my card front, knowing that when the recipient opens the card, you'll want it to look nice on the inside, both top and bottom. Hopefully that makes sense, but you'll see here once I glue them together, we have a very nice finished back to this card front. There you go. And technically adding the heavyweight cardstock to this piece wasn't necessary, but it just adds a bit of structure because the pattern paper is pretty lightweight and I want it to be a little bit heavier. Now with that other circle, I have that in my ScrapbookPal here, and I'm scoring at 3/8 of an inch with my bone folder, and this is to create the back of the card with a hinge. So I just score at 3/8 and I'll fold that over. And then that piece that we folded over will be the only piece that's glued to my card. So I'm just putting glue above that fold. You don't want to let it get too low because you don't want to accidentally glue the card shut. And then I will line up my circle right over top and press that top piece with the glue on it pretty tightly to the card front. And then this is my card finished. It was really quick to come together. I think this is a perfectly sweet card. It's 4 inches by 4 inches finished. So I did create a little square envelope to go with it, and it stands up perfectly, and I'm really happy with it. So all of the products I used in today's video are linked down below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel because there's always more crafty inspiration here all of the time. So I hope to see you again soon. Bye.